All right, let's get started here. We're going to start on the left side and a nice curved line, kind of like a backwards S, and curve up towards the top. Now we're going to, on the right, we'll have the tail end, so it'll start off pretty narrow at the tail and just get slightly wider as we go down. And we kind of get down towards the bottom, and it gets a great deal wider, and then back up towards the neck, and then we'll curve around towards the head and the mouth. And remember, we're drawing lightly so that we can erase anything we need to. Put a circle right about there. That will give me a guide for the forehead and the eyes. And I'm going to work on the head here first for a little bit. The head and mouth. Remember, super lightly in pencil so that any line that you don't like you can erase. So we're going to make a line that comes off away from the forehead and then down at the bottom. We got a Chinese dragon. It's going to have some teeth in it, but it shouldn't look too menacing. A Chinese dragon, we've learned, is a force for good in the world, and it may be fierce looking, but it is going to be a helpful creature. Add some teeth in there. Little line around the outside, kind of like little lips. And a nostril. And let's see if we can add little ridges along the snout. Make the forehead. I'm going to use that circle as kind of a guide. That's the forehead area. I'm going to erase all those other lines. I'm going to use a lot of eraser on this drawing today because I'm going to try stuff out, and if I don't like it, I'll just erase it and try it again. So I'm going to try to keep the pencil super light on the paper. I'm not going to press down really hard. And I'm drawing a little darker than you probably should be, just so you can see a little better. Now let's go with the crescent moon for the eye. Give it a little snake-like look. And if you remember in the book The Last Dragon, one of the important parts of the dragon was the pearl on the forehead. So I'm going to add a pearl there. Let's get some horns in there. Wait a minute. I think the horns are going to come from further back. Now, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just giving you some ideas on how to create a dragon. You can do your own style, make him larger or smaller or thinner or thicker. I'm going to add two horns coming out of more like the back of the head. So we have a couple of horns. I think I'll give it a little twist to it, kind of like unicorn horns. If you give it a little twist by putting in a kind of like a line coming in from one direction and a line coming in from the other, and then kind of looping them together. Kind of makes it look a little bit like it's twisting. But again, you can give the horns more curves or make them shorter. Whatever makes yours look like you're a dragon. And try to give it that little twist by adding those diagonal curved lines. All right. Now, Chinese dragons are famous for having whiskers and beards. So I'm going to add some of those, and I can erase all the lines I'm not happy with. And I think I'm going to add a lion's mane to it. I think a lot of artists who create dragons kind of get their inspiration from other animals. So, you know, we have like an alligator mouth and a snake eye and horns on top like an antelope and a goat beard, and we'll make a lion's mane also. This next part kind of tricky. Let's try a letter C. We're going to work on one of the front legs, just the front leg on this side. I'm going to make a letter C. And remember, I'm keeping the pencil really lightly on the paper so that I can erase it completely. And then I'll put a line on the bottom. It kind of looks like an upside down J. So we have the top part of the leg, the thigh, and now I'm doing the bottom part of the leg. And just out of your sight, I'm working on the foot. Let's see if I can get it right in the camera. There we go. And 3 toes in the front and that one kind of claw in the back. Bring the line back up for an elbow. Elbow there, and then back into the body. Not too far into the body. And mine, I got a little close to the bottom of the page. I think if I started over, I might leave myself a little more room, but I think I'm going to be okay there. But don't get too close to the bottom of the page. Don't get any closer than I did. Now I'm going to make that letter C. I'm going to do the same thing for the back leg. Letter C with a line on the bottom. It's going to kind of make it look like a J again, an upside down J. There we go. And I'll make that 3 toes clawed in the front. And then 1 claw in the back. Bring my line back up. And an elbow. And then the finish, attaching it to the body. We got to keep the pencil light on the paper so that you can erase. I'm going to try to get the front leg on the other side, and I'm going to try to make it even with the leg on the front. So if my leg starts here, then I'm going to come across there, and I want to have it extending forward, kind of like it's reaching out, reaching forward. And I'm going to try this claw here, 3 in the front, 1 in the back. And then I think I'm going to have to make a change there. And when I erase, the line is completely gone if I keep my pencil light on the paper. Bring the other one down, put an elbow, and then attach it to the body. There you go. I'm not really happy with how that front claw looks. I'm going to make another change there. And I can always keep the lines I like and get rid of the lines I don't like. All right, now on the back leg, remember we're going to try to keep it even with the front leg. And then I need to make it bend at the knee. So it's going to bend at the knee and come up and get my 3 claws on the front and 1 claw on the back. Bring it down to the knee and then connect it to the body. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of these lines that I don't need anymore. And you're not going to be able to see them at all. I can't see them at all. Like if you keep your pencil light on the page, you can get rid of them completely. And I think maybe I'll get rid of a little bit of those little extra lines there. Get rid of that. I'm going to make kind of the belly armor here. Get those big scales right along the stomach area. And I think I'm going to make this mane a little bit bigger, more like a lion instead of a horse. I think it kind of looks like a horse mane. Now I'll make it a little more like a lion. Get rid of that line there too. All right. Still not really happy with this hand, but I can erase it completely and try it again and keep on trying. as long as I'm writing lightly, I can take another try at it. There, I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. There we go. Add some scales on the back, make it kind of look like waves. So go over the top and then draw a letter C, over the top, letter C, over the top, letter C, over the top, letter C. I don't want to make these too small because as I go down the tail, it's going to get smaller, smaller, smaller. So by the time I get to the very end, I still want to make it big enough where I can put a paintbrush onto the scale. So it will get pretty small, but don't get too tiny or we won't be able to put any color on it. All right, I think I'll extend those belly scales down a little bit, down by the tail a little bit. See if there's any other stray lines that need to be erased, or if I want to make any other changes. Now's a good time to do that. I'm going to get ready for the next step. I'm going to speed things up a little bit. I'm going to take all the lines that I really like and put them down in Sharpie. All right, time to get the water brushes out. We want a little wetness in the watercolor to loosen things up, but we want to make sure that the watercolors and the paints that you're using, that you don't get the paper too wet, that you don't have any pools of watercolor on your paper. So keep some Kleenex handy in case we have some drips or pools. Now I'm going to start off with yellow, and I'm going to start with very, very light touches with the brush. You'll notice that the brush doesn't even bend. I'm touching the paper so lightly. I want it to have each touch separate. I don't want them to run together. So I'm being really careful. You're going to have to show some stamina and attention to detail for this project. Very light touches. Now I'm going to try to make the lines kind of flow with the body of the dragon, and I'm trying to keep the scales spaced out and not touching, and kind of let those dry a little bit. I'm going to work on some of the other areas here. I'm going to go yellow with the belly scales, and I want to be careful around the lines. No pooling, not too much water in the watercolors. And I'm going to get the far leg on the inside of the far leg. And the inside of the back leg. And from about the shin down on the legs that are closest. Get those yellow. We're trying to be careful on the lines here too. Start. I'm going to try a second color. I'm going to use three colors on this dragon. First color will be yellow, the lightest color. The next color should be a medium color, and I'm going to pick orange. So I'm going to add some orange, darker to the front legs. Let that color blend in, kind of make more like a shadowy look. Put some orange in here, and I'm going to make sure it's not too much water, and I'm going to let those colors kind of soak into each other a little bit. Watercolors are really good for that. But you don't need much paint, and you can just let that happen on its own. It will kind of soak into each other. And I'll add some orange to the mane. Trying to be really careful with the lines now. Using a small brush. I'm going to pull the paint away from the edge. And if at any time the paint starts to pool a little bit, I'm going to get that Kleenex out and carefully dab. So my third color is going to be red. I picked yellow first, then a little bit darker orange, and then much darker red. And now with my red, I'm going to really try to be careful not to have any watercolors run or pool. So not too much water in the red. And that red and orange is going to blend together nicely. And right on those edges, be as careful as you can with the lines. Blend a little orange, a little red. I'm going to make sure that there's not too much water on my brush. And now I'm going to go with orange dots. Really, once again, you want to touch the page so lightly that the brush doesn't even bend. And you want to try not to connect the yellow with the new dots. You want to try to find the white spaces to hit. And it's okay if they connect a little bit, but we don't want those colors to smear in together. So a little bit of yellow on the face, on the horns. I'm going to add a little red and orange in on the head and face part. And then I'm going to go with my third color. Let's try to make some red dots here. Again, I'm looking for the white spaces, and you're going to have to show some stamina. Actually, your wrist might be getting a little tired holding onto that brush and going so lightly on the page, but you'll notice that my brush isn't bending, and it wouldn't take too many mistakes to really kind of change the look. When we're done, we want to super lightly. I'm still looking for those white spots that are in between the yellow and the orange. And then I'm going to get the scales red. Again, I want to be careful with the borders right there. That's going to be anytime I'm working with the darkest color is going to be the most difficult part to fix if I have a problem. So any little touch-ups, a little extra red on some of the shadowy areas, and now I'm going to work on the border. So yellow, I'm going to pull that yellow away from the dragon's edge. I'm going to pull yellow away. I'm going to get a nice golden border around the entire dragon with the small brush. And you're going to have to show some stamina and some patience because you're working right next to another color. And usually you want those watercolors to blend into each other, but this is the one place here where we really want a separation of colors. So that yellow, be super careful. This is the trickiest part right here. I'm going to try to get that yellow or golden color all the way around the dragon. And again, you don't let the water pool. I had a couple of spots there where it was pooling, and I just used a Kleenex to dab it up. Now I'm going with my second color. My second color was orange, and I'm going to get out the big brush now because I don't really have a lot of lines I've got to be super careful with. So now I'm leaving that golden border, and now I'm putting in my second color, orange. And my last color, I'm going to pull out the big brush, and my last color is red, and I'm going to have that color be the color that goes right up next to the edge of the page. There's a little touch up here, a little blending, and I'm going to pull out my small brush right at the end, find any little spots that I think could use a dab of paint. And this, the border part is where we want to see a lot of that blending. So you'll see lots of areas that are blending together, and as the paint dries, that blending will become complete. I used red, orange, and yellow, and I would like you to start with yellow, but your other two colors could be really anything that you have to work with. I have some examples to show you. We have the red, orange, yellow. And then there is yellow first, and then blue, and then green. And I tried this color combination. Yellow first, and then purple, then blue. And get creative, come up with some color combinations that maybe you haven't seen before. So I hope you enjoy this project. Here's one that's yellow, red, and purple. Be creative, show some stamina, show some patience, and I'm sure it will come out great. Good luck.